Hey everyone, thank you for taking the time to tune in to my channel to look at today's recipe. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't done it yet, because it's easier for me to find you than for you to find me. Today's recipe is going to be one of my wife's favorites, one of my favorites, and it's going to be buttery, salty, keto friendly crackers. All right, and to do that, these are the ingredients I'm going to be using. It's basically it could be 2 ingredients, or it could be 3 if you count just the butter spray. And this, I can't believe it's not butter that's going to go on the top of it. But what we do, I get this from Kirkland's. Both of these are from Kirkland's because I make so many recipes that I would go through smaller bags, so I want to get bigger bags. Now, if you want to make more, then just double the recipe or lessen the recipe, however you want to do it. I make enough, this makes 5 batches of crackers that are low carb, and I will put that into the contents later. So I use 1 cup of almond flour, and then I use 1 cup of Kirkland's cheese. And this is just a mozzarella. I've seen where you could use mozzarella cheese, Parmesan cheese, Jack cheese, but the mozzarella and the bigger grade, if you can see that, it's just a little bit bigger than the thin stuff. It just blends a whole lot easier. So I use this because it's just a little bit more clumpy, because you're going to need it when you're making the dough balls. All right. Now then, we just put it in our food processor, just like so. Super simple. This is a very easy, very quick recipe. And then you pulse it a few times. Just to get it to blend. And we're going to add 3 teaspoons of water. But what I like to do is put the teaspoon of water and then just get it to pulse and add it so that it doesn't just all clump together. And believe it or not, we're done. Now that it's all formed, just take it all apart, put it into your mixing bowl. Now that we have everything mixed up properly, we're going to make 4 dough balls. And we just grab it. And it's usually about as much as will fit in your hand. A little bit bigger than a golf ball. Now that you have all of the dough balls mixed up to be right around the same size, you get your parchment paper and you put that down, you put another one on top of it. Now I have seen where they've made it the dough ball as rectangle as possible before you roll it out. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll it out and then so that it's nice and square, and actually nice. I'm going to trim it out with a pizza cutter so that it is nice and rectangle. And believe it or not, sometimes I don't trim it to make it nice and perfect. I just cook it like this. But on the edges, it's going to cook a whole lot quicker around the perimeter of it, around the edges of it, because sometimes it's just a little bit thinner than the actual center. In other words, my rolling technique isn't as perfect as I would like it to be. But that's okay, because we're not buying these at a grocery store, so it doesn't matter. And if your friends are eating it, then they're just lucky to have it. So now you open it up, and that's what it looks like. And if you can see, it is about a 1/16 of an inch thin. Pretty thin. And what we're going to do, as you can see, about a 1/16 of an inch thin. It's relatively thin. And it is a little thinner around the edges than it is in the middle. So we want it to really cook good. So we're going to take our pizza cutter and just cut those excess sides off. Put it back into the bowl, not to go to waste, but to be reformed and cooked. Now then, to make our squares, and you don't have to push really hard, because when I first started doing this, I pushed really hard, and sometimes the dough will curl up around the pizza cutter. And you could also put a little bit of warm water on it, but I just lightly press, because once this becomes a cracker, they break right on that line. It's about 1 carb for 25 crackers. So now that that is made, what I do now is I'll spray a little bit of butter, just a little bit, just to moisten the top. Put some salt. Take the parchment paper, place it back on top, and just kind of push it down so that it pushes the salt and the butter into the cracker. Now we're going to set our convection oven, set it for 7 minutes. Discard this, it won't be used again. And now, before we bake, this is what it looks like. Alright, now we place it into the oven. Now, as those are cooking, pull out the top of the piece of parchment paper so you don't have to throw it away. Place another ball in there, and grab you another sheet of parchment paper. These are a perfect snack. They're very keto friendly. They're gluten free, which makes it the best, because there's so many people that just can't have gluten. And we just repeat the process. Get the process down. It is really simple, really easy. All in all, from start to finish, it takes about 20 minutes. It's a very easy recipe to do, super simple. And you can substitute, instead of salt and butter that we sprinkle lightly on it, just to give it that salty sweet flavor. And then that toasted butter just puts a really good flavor on the cracker. You can substitute whatever you would like. You know, you could put popcorn seasoning on it. You could put different types of cheeses on top of it. There's really whatever you prefer. You could do cinnamon sugar. There's so many other different little recipes that you could follow, or whatever you like. You put the bagel seasoning on top of it. Flip it around, and this little toaster oven is amazing. It works really well, but you could also do this in a regular oven, and you don't have to have a convection oven. You can just set it at 350 and put it in for about 7 to 12 minutes. Put it in the oven. Everybody's oven is calibrated differently. I do set a lot of timers. I don't have it in the videos, but I do have timers going. Whether I have Alexa to set a timer. Alexa, set a 2-minute timer.
2 minutes, starting now.
There you go. Makes things easy. And she will set as many timers as you need. So if you've got 2 different things or 3 different things going at the same time, you're cooking maybe a dinner or a big lunch for somebody, or breakfast, you can set as many timers with Alexa as you need to. That's my timer. Alexa, stop. Okay, they're all done. We've taken them out of the oven. We're letting them cool. They are golden brown. They are crispy. They smell. We've already had a little taste. They taste delicious. We just thank you for tuning in to watch this recipe. Continue to do so because I have a lot more recipes coming out. If you haven't subscribed, please do so now. Once again, thank you for taking the time to watch my channel. And just watch it because everybody's oven is calculated different, and some are hotter, some are colder, and just once again, thank you guys. Thank you very much for this ingredient. Now that they're all done, we've taken them out of the oven. We're going to let them cool, and then we're going to break them up into individual pieces and just have. We've taken them out of the oven.